The Lockyer Valley, for example, is flood prone, as most people know. So quite often that means a loss of road infrastructure, which means that their crops may be isolated to certain areas, and not being able to get them to market quickly enough can be an issue. The other aspect to it is because the Lockyer Valley is the salad bowl of Australia almost, the farmers and primary producers need to get their crops to market, especially if it's around harvest time, before that crop perishes. It's a double-edged sword for the Lockyer Valley. The main one is getting food to people during a disaster event and shortly after a disaster event. I've seen a lot of food wastage, seems to be a big issue. Some of the food suppliers and retailers, for example, who don't have generators, and most of them don't, all the perishable food just goes. It seems to be part of their plan, for want of a better word, to let the food perish, put it in bins and claim it on insurance, which is a shame. That could be used to feed people in the local area during a disaster event. I think if we talk about the food outlets and retailers, I think they need to have a different mindset to do with their business continuity planning. For example, the money spent on power generation during a disaster event will pay back in spades during that event, because they'll still be able to sell their products until they run out, essentially, instead of throwing them out. I think also it's a good look for them to be providers to the community during a disaster event. So I think the dollar spent on a generator would come back in spades. I think business continuity planning is an important part of the solution. The outcome would be obviously a more resilient business that has a good, robust, effective, up-to-date business continuity plan. By default, that means that they will be able to provide that service more robustly during disaster events. And the worst case scenario, if they do have a good BCP, would be that they're back on their feet more quickly following a disaster event. I would see one of the main outcomes from this project being that all the different elements come together to form one outcome to help the whole food chain, suppliers and consumers during and after disaster events.